Using astrology to learn how to protect yourself. Today we're talking about the 8th house. Now, why are we talking about the 8th house? The 8th house normally is going to need some extra protections because it's Scorpio's house, it's Pluto's house, there's a lot of hidden stuff, and also this house naturally requires that there are enemies around. Also, please ignore the fact that we are in bed. Astrology updates from bed today did not feel like a bad idea, so here we are. Okay. So one of the first things we need to go over our 8th house protections is what the 8th house really does. It rules our contracts of exchange, among other things, okay, but we're going to apply this to several different areas. Contracts of exchange with your ancestors. It's part of the reason this is known for inheritance. Contracts of exchange with the institutions. Part of the reason this is known for taxes. Contracts of exchange in business, finances, money. Part of the reason that this house is known for bringing in, money, exchanges, things like that. You also want to look at contracts of exchange, legally, written up contracts and unspoken contracts, things that maybe you have agreed to that you didn't say anything about, nobody said anything about it, but you showing up and being there, your presence, your action, what do you do with what's going on, those are also starters and or binders of contracts. So contractual exchange, from the very, very, very invisible, spiritual, weirdo, wacko stuff to the very literal, legal, business contracts stuff. Okay. It's a spectrum. We're going to talk about it. So that's kind of the base of the 8th house. Part of the reason that enemies are attracted to this house, why would you need a contract in the first place? If it was really your friend that you were exchanging with, everything would be peachy keen and you wouldn't have a problem, right? All right. So one of the things to note is that this house, if you have placements there, if not so much, we're going to talk about it in a second, but if you have placements in the 8th house, those enemies normally are coming to take from the placements that you have in the 8th house. So if you take assessment of your placements in the 8th house and how they work in your life, what have they offered to you? What do they allow you to receive and the energy that they allow you to work in? Is there any benefit in your life? Possibly also downfall too, depends on the placement, especially like Saturn-ish sort of stuff. Not me with a Capricorn 8th house. Dear God. Okay. Moving on though. Check out those placements in the 8th house. Probably enemies are going to try to take from those like reservoirs, because those placements in the 8th house are also of benefit when you are drawing up contracts. So let's say that you have Jupiter in the 8th house. This is one of the reasons it's known for being so lucky in the 8th house. If you have someone who's passing on, okay, and you're going to inherit some of the stuff that they're leaving behind, Jupiter in the 8th house, it doesn't just give you one of their favorite CDs or, vinyl or cassettes or something like that. It doesn't just give you one of them. Turns out they were a collector and they had hundreds of them, and you also probably are going to pick up their equipment as well. Jupiter in the 8th house is known to be lucky because not only do you draw more, Jupiter's expansion, so you draw more from other people. It also means that you have to learn how to protect your more, right? Because the things that you expand and the things that you like take care of and become more in your life, that's the stuff that enemies might try to cross and or take from you. So take account of the stuff that you have in the 8th house. Okay, Jupiter's one example. Now, if we look at the sign ruler of the 8th house, okay, that is going to be the energy that your contracts and all those other areas that we were talking about, okay, family inheritance, ancestral work, legal stuff, institutional, the very unseen, invisible spiritual contracts that can be drawn up as well. The ruler of the 8th house is going to be, more often than not, how those contracts are drawn up. So if you have, say, Libra in the 8th house, you need to do things very justly. And if you don't, things might go a little wrong. Also, if somebody does you injustice, it may be a good idea to draw boundaries so that there are different kinds of contracts and or a lessening of an exchange, or a total just like, I'm not going to exchange with this person or this organization. Part of the 8th house is that we can't avoid some of the exchanges, though. Like, we can't avoid that we come from people to be born on the earth. So we have to learn. We're like kind of forced into it. I know. Scorpio 8th house Pluto stuff also has to do with the will. So there's not really a right or wrong way to navigate this stuff. It has a lot to do with what you want, how you are going to do it, and to have those exchanges in terms of like, I don't know, structural integrity, the will has to be involved. So you making a decision, other people making a decision, including other people making a decision to wrong you. You didn't really make a decision in that instance, but somebody else's will did. So if you look at your placements in that house and the sign ruler of that house, those are going to be indicators of what another person might be walking against you with or trying to take from you. Let's say, for example, you have Aries in the 8th house, okay? Let's make this super guttural and we'll say you have Mars in the 8th house too. Someone might try to take you. They might try to take you, your personality, okay, the stuff that you're interested in. So keeping secrets, keeping a guard around the stuff that's like really important to you and like really intrinsic to you. While it's Aries and Mars might be sometimes kind of difficult, but if you find yourself in like enemy territory of some kind, was probably going to be of benefit. Let's say that you have Aquarius in the 8th house, okay? They're probably going to try to take your social groups and or your social networks, or could be like colleagues, people that you're associated with in society, people that you're getting really creative with, also Aquarius sort of energy stuff, the rebellion sort of energy about that. I say that in a funny haha way, but that could be really serious. Okay, it's also ruled by Saturn, so there's that. Studying your enemy is chef's kiss, okay, for this. I would do the little hand motion, but both my hands are holding my phone, and at the angle I'm sitting, that would not be practical. So, studying your enemy, studying also how you have weaknesses and you have strengths. How do people get into my blind spots and I don't really realize that? If I'm studying how to protect my 8th house stuff, I'm going to need to understand that. I'm going to need to understand the blind spots. I'm going to need to understand the things that move me and I don't even realize. Takes a lot of like contemplation, sitting down, understanding things. There's a reason that Scorpio is known for playing the long game. So sitting down and really like working with understanding that long game with what's going on in your 8th house, you'll start to see people who maybe have walked against you that you haven't realized before. Maybe it's a relationship that fell apart that you just like don't understand what happened. You'll probably, if you look at it, realize that they probably wanted something from you and you weren't giving it to them. And so things fell apart because of the, I don't know, end of however they decided that things were going to go down. It's also important too to study your strengths and the things that you do that are like exemplary, because more than likely those are the things that other people are going to see. Part of the 8th house is that we can't hide everything. We can have a lot of hidden stuff, but we can't hide everything, okay? So if you have, unless you're like Pluto in Scorpio in the 8th house, and you have a bunch of other Scorpio placements, you, my friend, are going to be super secretive, okay? Super extra duper secretive. And I commend you for that, okay? Crazy work. But yeah, we can't hide everything in the 8th house. So if you study like your strengths, your accomplishments, what you like are exemplary in, the stuff that you do that is like award worthy, that probably also somehow is going to show up in the 8th house. Even if you don't really have any placements, it could just be the ruler sign energy of the 8th house too, associated with those accomplishments a little bit. Look at how it is associated with those accomplishments and then recognize that other people see those for you. Most of the time, people are probably going to be either jealous, envious, evil eye stuff, very 8th house oriented, or they could be actively trying to play you to get either involved in those accomplishments and or benefit from them somehow. If we take it a step further, okay, studying the sign ruler being like, if you have Libra in the 8th house, look at Venus, okay? If you have Capricorn in the 8th house, look at Saturn. So go back to the ruler, the sign ruler. Where is that placement? What is it ruled by? Your contracts, for them to be healthy and work out for you, you're also going to need to study sort of everything that we've talked about in that area, the sign ruler of the 8th house, in that area of the chart. And if you can get a good handle on that, call it ironclad. Okay, you're probably going to be pretty glad that you took the time to sit down and learn about it. It probably is going to take some time. Hidden stuff doesn't just come to the light super bright, super soon all the time. Sometimes you gotta sit and you gotta think about it. But studying that, it can show you like weaknesses, where to protect yourself, strengths, how to protect those. It will also teach you, more than likely, how to accomplish even more. Crazy. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep up the brew you do. I'm gonna do some more of these personal protective updates. I think they're pretty good. I'll keep on my brew too, and I'll talk to you soon. Also true.